From coast to coast and shore to shore and all around the world. Good evening. Good evening, you wonderful patriots, God-fearing Americans. Pray that you've had a wonderful day today. We've had a great day. We've passed a great milestone here at the Conservative College, as you've probably heard by now. Over 100,000 subscribers in less than 3 weeks. So we give God all the glory. We give you all the thanks for making this channel a wonderful success so that we can get the truth out tonight and educate the world on what's happening. Tonight's show, power packed. You are going to understand just how close we are to the re-election of Donald John Trump. But more importantly, for the reviving of our great republic tonight. I want to welcome you. Make sure you hit your like button, your love buttons, whatever you can hit to get us up in the algorithms on Facebook and on YouTube. So we welcome you tonight. Get your seatbelts on. Tonight we are going to dive all the way in to some good stuff. Huge breaking news in the state of Georgia. In the state of Georgia, the legislature of the state of Georgia is moving as we speak in an attempt to decertify their election from Joe Biden to Donald Trump. That meeting takes place at 9 o'clock in the morning. The Secretary of State will meet in the morning with the Republican-controlled legislature. And that meeting is intended to decertify the Georgia election. This is a breakthrough that we need. So before you go to bed tonight, when you wake up in the morning, pray for Georgia. We need a day where the lights would just come back on in Georgia, okay? So that is huge breaking news right now. Other breaking news that we have is bye-bye, Dr. Birx. Goodbye. Hasta la vista. Bye-bye. See you later. And hopefully not, because you lied to the American people. You played games with patriots. You told the deplorables that we couldn't invite grandma to our house. We definitely couldn't bring mama or grandpa or none of the grandchildren to our house for Thanksgiving. Do you remember telling us that? Yeah, well, you thought that we were from the nation of France or from one of our European neighbors, that we believe in government. You thought that we would just tremble at those words. I got news for you. A lot of us ignored you, Dr. Birx. We had big Thanksgivings. But the point remains, you got busted. Your house was filled with your family for Thanksgiving. So now you have to bow your head in shame and retire. And that's the choice you've made today. So we bid you speed and we bid you adieu. Why? Because this is the United States of America. We don't play here. We know our rights. We know who we are. We know that we are sovereign citizens of the United States. And so, bye-bye, Dr. Birx. Congratulations tonight to 50 of you that won a free cookbook today, and my wife's book. We're sending those out. We've got all of your addresses. 50 of you will get that set of books, no charge, from your humble professor, your only professor, Professor Toto. So thank you for playing our history game today. You answered all the right questions, and many of you won. I'm just sorry that we couldn't give them away to hundreds and thousands of you. Real quick, if you've not checked out our new website, it is available, firstharvestchurch.org. It has been redesigned by my good friend from Slidell, Louisiana, Brett Thomas, with Rhino Web Development. His link is going to be in the description box tonight. If you've got a business and you're looking for great website design, please get over there and tell him Toto sent you. And from what I hear, he's given some deep discounts on a professional website if you tell him Toto sent you. Well, have you heard the rumor that Donald Trump is getting ready to concede? Have you heard the rumor on CNN and fake news, Fox News? And now it looks like Newsmax they used us to get their ratings up, and now it looks like they might be getting cold feet on us. That's okay. We've still got OAN. So turn Newsmax off, everybody. Go on over to OAN. They've earned our business. Newsmax, we'll teach you the same lesson we taught Fox News. We're looking for a voice, not vacillation. We're looking for a voice, okay? So if you've heard Donald Trump's getting ready to concede, getting ready to give it up, throw in the towel, then you must not have been watching the news this morning when Donald Trump, in a Trumponian move that only he could make, appointed 40 people to new cabinet positions, government positions. He appointed Hope Hicks to a new position. I'll tell you, if the boy's getting ready to resign, that's the strangest resignation I've ever seen in my life, right? Also, if you thought that our president was getting ready to retire and drift off to Mar-a-Lago, as they would have you to think, if you thought he was just going to roll over and sign this new legislation called the stimulus bill that Congress passed yesterday, if that's what you thought, well, tonight your president walked out like a boss and showed you and me he ain't going nowhere. He made it clear, the last line of his speech. If you did not hear his speech, the link is in the description box. Go listen to it the minute I leave the air tonight. That's your president. A president that stood up for the people today. Once again, like he's done for 4 years, draining the swamp from one end to the other side of the swamp. He walked out unexpectedly. They thought they were going to roll this junk and make him sign it because he's a lame duck president, right? Well, he came walking. He came walking with a big stick. He came walking out of the Oval Office and showed this nation he is still fighting for the American people. As a matter of fact, here's what he did. He exposed the Republicans and the Democrats today. I want to say to my Republican congressmen and senators, I, Professor Toto, your humble professor, am ashamed of you. I am ashamed of you and what you've become. Because what you've become, my friend, is the Democrats in another form. And we're going to talk about that tonight. Republicans, you have embraced the disease of liberalism. Now, Professor Toto wants to teach you real quick what the disease of liberalism looks like. Matter of fact, I'm going to open up my health clinic tonight and I'm going to give you a free examination. We're going to test you and see if you've got the virus called liberalism, socialism, closet communism, living anywhere in the recesses of your mind. Well, here we go. We're going to play a little game tonight, and you're going to help me. We are going to have a family meeting. I'm going to play several different parts. I'm going to play the part of the daddy and the mama. And over on the other side of my desk over there, I've got little Johnny. Now, little Johnny has been working real hard all year long. And little Johnny has been sending me, the mama, because I'm going to play daddy in a minute. Right now, I got to play mama because I'm the only one here. So he has been sending mama all of his money, a good portion of it, to put up in savings. And sure enough, there is $2,000 that he has sent home. It's right there to mama. A big stack of money. Sent that to mama, okay? And he said, Mama, I want you to put that up for me in case I ever need it. All right, no problem. But there is a problem. Mama is a bleeding heart liberal. Mama has a disease. It runs through her brain and her mind and her thought process. Mama is sick. Well, about a year later, little Johnny comes to see Mama. And hard times have hit. And he tells Mama, Mama, COVID-19 has hit and I'm out of work. My bills are due. My light bill's due. I don't have any food in the house, Mama. So, Mama, I need to get that $2,000 that I gave you. I need to get it from you. And Mama says, oh, well, son, I don't mind loaning you some money. And little Johnny says, well, you wouldn't be loaning me money. It's my money, Mama. But see, Mama's a liberal. Mama don't believe that's all his money. Why? Because he made the mistake of sending it to Mama, right? So she says, well, little Johnny, let's see what you've got, and Mama will help you. No, Mama, I don't need you to help me, Mama. That is my money, Mama. Hello, that's mine, every bit of it. I worked for Mama. All right. Mama's not hearing him because Mama's a liberal. Mama has a disease. Mama is very, very sick. So she goes to the safe or the treasury of the United States and she pulls out little Johnny's money. And she says, okay, little Johnny, we have $2,000 here. But I heard that the vampires in Transylvania needs a little bit of money to buy new fangs with so they can bite people. Yeah. So out of your $2,000, Johnny, we're going to take 400 of it and we're going to send it over there to Transylvania. Right, little Johnny? And little Johnny looks at Mama and says, well, I mean, if you say so, Mama. She says, oh, and guess what else I heard? I heard that the English Tea Club Society over in Great Britain has run out of Earl Grey tea and they need $400, little Johnny, of your money. And let's send that money over there to them. Johnny says, well, Mama, I've got to pay my bills. Oh, I'm going to help you, son. Just hang tight. And the whole time he's thinking, help me. Anyway, so Mama says, okay, I'm going to help you. But before I do, there's a school over in Agalazaki, Magobapaki, and they're doing a research on how to know if a little girl is a little girl or a little boy is a little boy, Johnny. So we're going to send them $500, little Johnny, and help them with your money, little Johnny. But good news, little Johnny, here's $600 for you. You can thank me later. Right? Little Johnny looks at his Mama, and all of a sudden, the same sickness that Mama has evidently is hereditary because something comes over his mind. And he says, thank you, Mama, for my $600. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And he takes his $600 and he can't hardly pay the light bill with it. But he's happy that the government helped him. But right before he just gets taken over by the disease of liberalism, Daddy comes walking in the room. His daddy's name is Donald John Trump. And his daddy says, wait a minute, Mama. Give that boy all of his money or don't give him none of it. And Johnny says, well, wait a minute, I want the $600. His daddy looks at him and says, son, are you that stupid? Are you that much like your mama that you don't understand every bit of that belongs to you and not the vampire society of Transylvania that needs more blood fangs? And then Johnny listens. He says, wait. Mama, I want all my money. Ladies and gentlemen, I just told you what happened today in the United States of America. Liberalism was exposed by the president of the people today in his speech to the American people. He walked out of his office and he threw a hand grenade. You hear me? A hand grenade into the party, into the swamp. And running out is Mitch McConnell. Running out is Chuck Schumer. Running out is all the rhinos. We see you guys. We know who you are. We're watching because we are Toto's army and we are not deceived by what you're doing. So your president did that today because in that bill that was passed, here's what you had. Ready? $135 million to Burma, $85.5 million to Cambodia, $1.4 billion to the Asia Reassurance Initiative Act, $130 million to Nepal, $4 million for former presidents, and then for the Kennedy Center and the Smithsonian Center. And they're all closed because of COVID, but we're going to send them $4 million. And you know why we're going to do this? Because of a disease that killed 320,000 people this year, while heart disease killed 655,000. That's why we're going to do that. And we're going to make you think that we're helping the public. No, sir. You are making a mockery out of the people that you represent. So here's all Donald Trump said. Donald Trump said, take that 85 million, that 4 million, that 1.4 billion, take it all back and send it to my people that need help paying their bills. Send them 2,000. Forget the 600. Give Johnny all his money. He threw a hand grenade in there. But I'm going to tell you something else. There's another reason he's going to veto this bill. Another reason. Because there was something hidden in that bill. Right here. I don't know if you can see it. But it's called House Amendment 833 by that lunatic Escobar that snuck this in. It's called Amendment 833, which requires certification to be made to Congress when the president deploys active duty military within the United States. In other words, they know he has the power of the Insurrection Act in his hands. They snuck this in on our president. Another branch of government tried to steal the power of the presidency. Equal branches trying to steal from the presidency. So the reason Donald Trump really threw this back, if you want to know the truth, he used the $2,000 because he knows they're not ever going to do it. He read that amendment. He said, y'all can have this back, guys. I'm good, right? Now, what happens if they override his veto? Oh, they could. They've got plenty of people to override the veto because the Republicans are in bed with the Democrats. They all making babies together. They're all making the same liberal baby, the same socialist baby, the same communist baby is all being co-opulated together by both parties. Oh, they could definitely override the veto, but there's something that I really love about Donald Trump. He's always one step ahead of Fancy Nancy. Always, always. There's a little something called the pocket veto. The Constitution says that when the Congress sends the president a bill, he has 10 days to hold it and sign it or not sign it, or to veto it or not veto it. If he does veto it, then it goes back to the regular channels to be overridden. If he doesn't veto it, then it becomes law automatically in 10 days, not counting Sunday. Except when the House is in recess. It's called a pocket veto. Guess who's fixing to go home for Christmas, for the holidays? The Congress. They're about to leave. They're not even going to be in session at the end of his 10 days. Donald Trump don't have to veto or not veto. All he's got to do is put it in his pocket, forget about it, and go home. So, ladies and gentlemen, There you go. Rand Paul made a wonderful speech today. I'm going to quote one paragraph from it. Rand Paul is the only senator that I know of that stood against this disaster of a stimulus bill. He said, if free money was the answer, if money really does grow on trees, then why not just give more free money? Why not give it out all the time? Why stop at $600 a person? Why not do 1,000? Why not 2,000? Maybe these new free money Republicans, I love how he said new, because in days gone by, the Republicans would have rejected this all day long. Y'all have gone spineless. You're scared of the Democrats. You're scared of the majority, and I'm fixing to deal with that. He says you new free money Republicans should join the Everybody Gets a Guaranteed Income caucus. Why not 20,000 a year for everybody free? Oh, why not 30,000? If we can print out money with impunity, why not just give everybody $100,000 a year income? That's the only man I've heard today besides Donald Trump that makes a half lick of sense. And I agree with him. But here's what we're fighting, class. Now is my monologue for this evening. We're fighting the delusion called democracy. This is the delusion that you heard today, that the government is going to help us. No, we need the government to get out of our lives and let us go back to work. That's what we need. And we can help ourselves. But we have bought into this delusion of democracy, majority rule, for so long that we have forgotten who we are. God has laid it upon my heart and my life to bring a revival to America. Not just a spiritual revival, and God knows we need that, but a revival of our identity, a revival of the republic. I want to make that a hashtag called a Republic Revival. Republic Revival. What is a revival? Well, the evangelist comes in when the church has grown cold and everybody's fallen asleep during the sermons and everybody's dying on the bench. That powerful evangelist comes in, and what does he do? He reminds us to praise the Lord. He gets a revival comes into the church, a restoring, a calling back. Well, this revival is happening in America today. I'm simply one of many voices that are rising up mysteriously, miraculously, all over the internet. Voices are rising up, bringing the people of this nation back to their identity, to make America great again. How do we make America great again? By remembering what America is. I got an email today from one of our students here at the Conservative College by the name of Jack Graham. He said some things that stirred my spirit. He said, I'm convinced that we have been entrusted with a great gem in the history of mankind. I love that, Jack. Our republic should be kept near and dear in our hearts. I want to ask you that's watching me tonight, do you hold the republic near and dear? It's a gem of great price. It's being lost to this generation. He continues, we must continue our struggle to resist those who would put us back in the shackles of tyranny, or I prefer to say democracy. You see, tyranny is democracy. He continues, this nation has been ordained by God to be a beacon of freedom and light to the nations, with its greatest purpose being to lead them to the gospel of Jesus Christ, Yeshua, and his eternal kingdom that's coming to earth. At this time, he said, we must not let our republic slip away, or we may never, ever get it back. Jack, I could not agree more. Your fellow students could not agree more. If there's anything this election has done for you and for me, we were all sort of drifting along in our boat since childhood, drifting along on the ocean of carelessness and carefree living. This election has jolted us to how close we are to losing this gem called the Republic. Opening our eyes to the agenda of the left, because finally it is blatantly before our eyes. No longer can you and I live in our mundane, mediocre life and sweep it under the table and label it extreme right-wing conspiracy. No, now these things are crawling out from the table saying this is real. It has caused us all to no longer be able to ignore what we wanted to ignore. Why? Because a battle is not easy. Fighting against the tide is not easy. Being the minority is not easy. Being the voice of conscience and righteousness and the restorers of the republic is not easy. That's why many of you are worn out. You're tired. You're exhausted. Because just to convince somebody that we're not a democracy takes a 2-hour conversation. It's tiring. But somewhere tonight, in the whispers of our history, somewhere tonight in the faintest memories of our forefathers, have come to us the screams of attention as we have begun this journey back to the ideals of our founders. We have begun to see just how much of the Democratic Kool-Aid we were all beginning to drink. And yet there is an awakening in our nation tonight. From sea to sea, across the cornfields of Ohio, to the bayous of Louisiana, and the foothills of the Appalachians, there is a call. Can you hear it tonight? It's coming from the whispers of yesterday, from the dry bones of dead patriots. They are calling forth the army that will save this republic one more time. George Washington, his very memory whispers through the night, where are the soldiers that will cross the Potomac with me yet one more time? We are hearing the call. What is the call that we're hearing? I'm going to make it very simple. The demise of democracy and the rise of the republic. I want you to let those words become part of who you are, class. The demise of democracy and the rise of the republic. Why democracy? Democracy is nothing less than the tyranny of the majority. It's when the majority rules. It's no worse or no less worse than the tyranny of a king. I want to show you now the agenda of the left. If you're watching me, come in closer. You don't want to leave. I'm fixing to show you the agenda of the left, of the swamp. If democracy means majority rule, and if you've not watched my video called America 101, go to your YouTube channel or bar and search Shane Vaughn, America 101, and don't wait to watch it. Watch it right after this class. You've got to watch it. Why? I teach you that a democracy is the worst kind of government in the history of the world. It's not even as bad as a monarchy. It's worse than a monarchy. It's horrible because the majority is the bully. Nothing rules except for the majority. Now, if we believe that we're a democracy and that majority rules, then we have one easy way to become the winners every time. If we're a democracy and majority rules, then all we need to do then, if I'm on the left, let's say I'm not on the right, I'm not on the side of Luke Skywalker. Let's say I'm part of the Sith, the evil empire. Well, that's who they are. I'm telling you, that's who they are. So let's say we're over there. We like killing babies and making everybody pay for it. And we like everybody dependent on the government and sucking at the hind. Well, we like all that, okay? We like that. We like that. So let's say I'm over there and I'm going to teach them how to take over this nation. I'm going to tell them, you are a democracy. The majority rules. And once I convince them of that, then I'm going to tell them all they've got to do to rule the nation. Create the majority. Underline that in your notes. The left's desire is to create the majority. Why? Because they think majority rules. You used to think that majority rules until Professor Toto taught you that the law rules, not the majority or the minority, but the law of the land that is agreed to by the collective wisdom of the whole. We are a nation of laws. We are ruled by law, not kings, not majorities, not minorities. We are ruled by law. But if I can convince you, so much that even our own president that we love uses the word democracy. It even slips out of my mouth on occasion. We've become so ingrained with the left's message that we're a democracy, then all we have to do now is create the majority. Well, how are we going to do that, Professor? Well, if I was on the side of the Sith Lord and I was training the evil ones, I would tell them, here's what we have to do. We have to create the majority by going after all the children. Because very soon it's the children that will come to our side and create for us the majority. It's happening right now. It's been happening because you allowed your kids to go to schools that did not teach a republic constitution. They did not learn who we are. You weren't teaching them. I wasn't teaching them. We allowed the Dark Lord and the Sith, called Nancy and Chuck and all of their progenitors, to take our children into their schools with their curriculum, titling their textbooks, America, the Great Democracy, putting this in front of our children's faces. And what they have done, we've sent them to their college. Why? Because they pay for us to send them to their college. Free education. Free education. Of course, that's the agenda of the left, ladies and gentlemen. Wake up. Let the swamp get out of your mind. They want your children in their preschools. Why do you think if your children miss a school, they'll put you in jail? They want those children in their classrooms. They want their children to cut your children to forget what they learn in the evenings when they're at home with you for maybe 3 or 4 hours. They want them 8 hours a day. They want to show them their version of America. They want to teach them socialism, how evil capitalism is. They create the majority when they took our children into their schools. We are fighting. We must understand the battle. This battle is to create a majority because they believe that majority rules. But they don't understand the great Constitution was divinely inspired to protect us against them, because they have convinced your children that guns are bad. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. See, they have convinced your children that guns are horrible, that we need to get rid of all the guns. But they keep running into that old piece of paper sitting up there in a museum that says that we shall never, ever be robbed of our right to bear arms. So what do? They tell the children, oh, well, we don't want to take all guns away. We just want to take the ones that we think they don't need. Ladies and gentlemen, there's an agenda. What they don't understand, the right to bear arms was never for you to go hunting. The right to bear arms was so that you could rise up against your government if you had to. That's why you have a right to bear arms. You can't do that with shotguns. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, the agenda of the left is destroying our children. Why are we so upset about the fraud in this election right now? If you thought we were upset about Donald Trump losing, you don't know us. No. We believe that the law is solid and it must be protected. But when you have fraud that's allowing you to chip away at that law, get around that law, now you're attacking our foundation as patriots. We're screaming against the fraud because now if we can't depend on law to be solid, our whole republic is gone. That's what we're fighting for tonight, a Republican revival, a revival of the republic. Let's all imagine that we were living in some commune with Jim Jones or some commune out there in the middle of nowhere, and we was in a democracy. All we would have to do to rule that commune was have the most children or the most family members, and we rule. We turn it into a tyranny of many instead of the tyranny of one. God help us to get rid of this democracy in our mind. We need a demise of the democracy, and we need a rise of the republic. The Democratic Party is producing their own offspring. They're taking your children from you. Why do you think they hate homeschoolers? Well, they don't right now because they need them to get their agenda with COVID-19 and all of that. No, Facebook, I didn't say it was a hoax, so stop. No, YouTube, I didn't call it a hoax. Stop. You can't read my mind. I said they use that for homeschooling. Okay, that's what I said. Now, this is the agenda. Before COVID, they hated homeschoolers. They thought we were all a bunch of backwoods. Nobody was going to get a good education at home, and now they're begging you to give them an education at home. Do you see the hypocrisy? But as long as mom and daddy are republic and they're teaching the children, then they can't create their majority that they need to rule this nation. When our government is more concerned about creating programs for the poor than defending the individual liberty of all men, as long as they pit the poor against the wealthy, they try to turn themselves, the Democrats try to turn themselves into the saviors of mankind. And mankind cannot be saved. They want more programs to fix broken men. Nothing will fix broken men but salvation and the Son of God. Nothing will fix broken alcoholics but a conversion of faith. No rehabilitation center will ever deliver anyone from a drug. You're throwing programs at what you cannot fix because you took the church out. You took the commandments out. You took their only hope away from them, and now you've become the God. You're no different than the People's Republic of China. The God of China is the government of China. I say to you tonight, the God of America has become the government that can help you when you need help. God forbid that we become those people. The Democrats sell pipe dreams while the Republic sells reality. The pipe dream says we will feed you. The Republic says we will train you. They say we will educate you for free. We say we will teach you the greatest education you'll ever get, that nothing is free. We will send you to school and you will pay for it when you get out. That's the greatest lesson you will ever learn, to pay your debts. They say that we will provide everything for you. We say we will provide jobs for you. They say Medicare for all, but we say Medicare for those that cannot work, those that cannot sustain themselves and have no means to obtain it. We teach on the right side independence. They teach codependence. We teach survival. They teach arrival. That we've all arrived at some grand utopian dream. Here is the reality that the Republic sells to our citizens. The same one that Jesus Christ sold when he looked at his disciples and said, in this life you shall have trouble. Or the gospel that Paul preached. He said, if a man doesn't work, don't even let him sit down at the dinner table. If you won't feed him, he'll go to work. In this nation of America, independent, sovereign men have made a covenant. Brother Vaughn, Professor Toto, y'all don't care about the poor. You don't want to help nobody. I'm about to smash that devil right between the four eyes, because here is the truth. I'm going to pull back the curtain on that lie. Are you ready? The sovereign citizens of this nation have made a covenant with our poor and our needy, because we know what Jesus said. You'll never get rid of the poor. You'll never have enough programs to get rid of them. You'll never have enough homeless shelters. You'll never have enough food stamps. Jesus said the poor will be with you forever. But yet, knowing that, we've made a covenant with our poor and our needy. What is that covenant? We've said this to them: we will go out and work, us able-bodied men and women. We will go out and work by the sweat of our brow. We will put up with the troubles of life, and we will work. And we will make $1. We will make a $1 bill, and we will turn around out of that dollar, and we will take 30 to 50 cents of it and send it in to Mama Government, so that she can continue to feed our poor and help those in need. When someone tells me I don't care about the poor, I just want to hand them my tax returns. When someone says we don't care about the poor, I want to show them that 50 cents of every dollar I earn is given to the government. And that government provides homes for the needy, food for the hungry, Medicare for the pitiful. We made a covenant as sovereign citizens to help the poor as sovereign citizens. On the right, we create jobs, not dreams. We create tools, not tantrums. We create opportunities, not excuses. They call us the right because we are right. And ladies and gentlemen, that is my monologue for this evening. You are on the right side. You are on the only side. And that side, we've got to save it. We've got to have a revival of the Republic. I got a sweet letter today from Miss Sherry Hyman. She wrote me a letter, and her husband just passed away from COVID-19. Would you keep Sherry Hyman in your prayers tonight? She just lost her husband. She sent our ministry a beautiful donation. Thank you, Sherry, and thank you everyone that's been so kind to us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go, thank you to everyone. Please hit that like button. Please hit that share button. Krista Jespin, April Kilberry, Josephine Wilson, Rebecca Ascura, Asterios Ananagusto, Thomas Matthew, Justin Hewitt, Highway 358, Jason Dilday, Rosalind Devasti, Matt Pollard, Ronald Pisano. How can I say thank you except say thank you? Y'all have been so kind to Professor Toto tonight. Tonight, wherever you are, I pray that you would feel a stirring in your heart to have a revival of the Republic for which we stand. Tomorrow's a big day in Georgia. Y'all, there are so many paths to victory for our president now that I can't keep up with all of them. Great things are happening. Drop your negativity. Just tell it bye-bye. Have faith. Believe. Nothing is impossible when you put your faith in God.
You want to know about a phone call?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Miss Toto. Okay, so did you notice the new confidence in our president tonight when he stood there talking about the stimulus bill at the end? Did you get that last line when he told them that it would probably be him or maybe be me that resends that bill to them? Because It has been told through a very good source that's not quite public yet that President Trump received a phone call from a foreign government and they have sent to him evidence of the election fraud. They say that it's going to be so magnanimous that even the Democrats will not be able to ignore it or deny it. This would give him the power for the Insurrection Act, if that's what he chose. Now, everybody's saying, but he said he's not going to do martial law. There's a difference between the Insurrection Act and martial law. He needs to know there was foreign influence to enact that. Mo Brooks was at his office. Representative Mo Brooks was at his office today for a reason. Yesterday, many of the members of the House were in his office to help finish up this plan. This activity that you're seeing happen is because of a phone call. I don't predict where it's going, but I know what I've been told from a very, very, very reliable source. God bless you tonight. We love every one of you. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you real soon.